So welcome to the session today. So it's the Help to Grow management programme that we're going to be talking about. I'm Nicola McCormack from the Skills Development Scotland, and I work for the Skills for Growth team. And I'm pleased to welcome our guest speakers from UWS onto the session today. And in a minute, I'll introduce them. First of all, I'm just going to quickly run through some housekeeping. So just to let you know that we're recording this webinar to put on our website, so you or any of your colleagues that want to will be able to access it in the future if you need to. We've got quite a few people signed up today, so to avoid any accidental interruptions, attendee cameras and microphones have been switched off. However, we would like to encourage you to use the Q&A function and ask any questions that you might have. This is a really good opportunity to find out anything you're unsure of. And this option is different to the chat function. So if you look at the top of your Teams screen, you should be able to see the Q&A button, and it's got speech bubbles with a question mark in it. The session itself is due to run for 45 minutes today, and we've also dedicated some time at the end, obviously, for the presentations for the questions. I'll manage the Q&A session and try to ensure that as many of the questions as possible are covered. Also, if there's any resources available, we can share you with them as well after the session. And an ask from us, if you can contribute to the feedback survey at the end, that would help to support us with the development of our webinars moving forward, and that would be much appreciated. So now that I've done with the housekeeping, I'm just going to give you an introduction to today's session and introduce the speakers. So, as I mentioned, the webinar today is all about the Help to Grow management programme. It will provide you with an overview of the support available nationally to Scottish businesses via the Help to Grow management programme delivered throughout the country by the University Network. And today we're going to hear about the programme from UWS, who have been successfully running the programme for a number of years now. Our speakers include Patrick Afchin. Patrick, I hope I've pronounced your surname correctly. Patrick's the Programme Director of Help to Grow at UWS. He's a seasoned professional within the School of Business and Creative Industries at the University of West of Scotland, and he's got a diverse background that spans things like business development, project management, business analysis and process improvement. We'll then hear from Karen Finnegan. And Karen is an executive programme coach on the UWS programme, and she supports the candidates through focusing on things like leadership, team building, facilitation, marketing and strategic growth. Karen has built a wide portfolio of knowledge in sectors such as executive education, energy, tourism and food and drink, and she's worked throughout the public, private and third sectors. And thirdly, we'll hear from an employer who's actually been on the course herself, Leslie Compston. Leslie's the co-founder and director from ClassCare, who's been in the Help to Grow programme and can share her experience from a business viewpoint and how she found the course from the SME side. Just before I hand over to Patrick, I just want to add that myself and my colleagues from the Skills for Growth team are regularly signposting businesses to the Help to Growth management programme through the recommendations that we make in the Skills for Growth reviews that we carry out with SMEs all over Scotland. Leadership and management are one of the main key themes that comes up whenever we go out to speak to businesses, where you've got succession planning and wanting to ensure that you've got future leaders who are fully developed, and that's crucial, for any company's growth. This programme that you're about to hear about very much complements our work with employers and their teams, and I'm therefore pleased at this stage to hand over to Patrick so that you can find out more about the programme. So over to you, Patrick, and just as we say, just direct me with the slides and I'll move them as you need them.
Okay, so thanks for that introduction. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for taking your time out to sign up and listen to us, to what we're doing at University of the West of Scotland with the Help to Grow programme, and also to say thanks to Skills Development Scotland for giving us this opportunity. So it's about boosting business, and to give you a little bit of background, it started with the government, the UK government, looking at what support is there in Europe compared to what support is there in the UK. And they've come up with this programme which is funded, and I'll take you through the kind of overview of what the course is. Can I have the next slide, please? So what is the programme? So it's executive development programme to support SMEs boost their business support, their performance and their growth potential. It consists of 12 modules or 12 sessions. There are no exams, so it's not a kind of case of you get the feeling that you're signing up to come and sit and go through long modules with exams. There is coursework, but that's case studies which are bespoke and designed for you and your business and your colleagues. So what we do through this is the 12 modules. We've got 5 of these are in person. It used to be 4, we've made it 5 because people felt that they wanted to get together at module 1 rather than module 3, feeling that if they could meet their peers and start working together, it would benefit them. So that's a change we made. So we now do modules 1, 3, 6, 9 and 12 are in person. Those are on the Paisley campus and they last typically 4 hours. And we provide a networking lunch there. So we invite you to come onto the campus, have a bit of lunch, do a bit of networking before we start the sessions. And modules, the remaining modules are online. So that's 7 of these are 2 hours, they're webinars. And we record these so that if you were to miss them, you can watch it at a time that's convenient. So that would be the 12 sessions. It's 50 hours over 12 weeks, and it's designed to be manageable alongside the full-time work. Curriculum is designed from support throughout UK industry, and it focuses on real-world case studies from British businesses. On top of this, participants also receive 10 hours of one-to-one mentoring support to develop their business growth plan. So the mentoring comes, I'll go into that a bit further in detail on other slides, but from business professionals. And you have 8 hours of peer-to-peer learning, and I'll explain how that works as well. And in conclusion of the course, if you attend 75% of the course, so that'd be 9 of the 12 sessions, you'll have access to the UK alumni network of Help to Grow. So that's not the university's alumni, that's the actual, all the SMEs that are involved and have been involved in the last 3 years of the programme. And you also get 6 months Chartered Management Institute subscription on completing, if you achieve the 75%. So it's 90% funded by the UK government. And at this point, what I'd say to you is UWS, we'd taken a decision from our business school to include a 10% bursary. That therefore means the programme is fully funded. That's not the case throughout the UK. There are 60 universities roughly throughout the UK that offer the programme. 6 of those are in Scotland, and there are very few that offer the bursary. So the choice is there to go to any university that offers the programme. UWS is just one of the providers. And of course, we'd love to have you at our institution learning from us and working with our businesses, but you feel free to make a choice. Businesses themselves that qualify for this to be the SME, it's 5 to 249 employees. They've been operating for a year, and the participant should be a senior decision maker within the business. If you have 10 or more employees, you can have 2 places on the course, but that's 2 places on the course for the duration of the programme running. So it's not that you could have 2 places at every cohort, at every institution throughout the UK. The government would only fund the 2 places. And it's delivered by leading academics from the UK and also from our School of Business and Creative Industries. Can I have the next slide, please? So these are the structure and themes. So you can see from there the 12 sessions, and it's broken down into part 1, strategies for growth and innovation, part 2, engaging with customers, part 3, building sustainable and agile business, and part 4, operations and financial strategies. And what you'll tend to find is modules 1 and 2, you'll have peer groups and you'll have case studies which you can look at for your own business. And in module 3, module 6, module 9, module 12, these are the longer sessions. These are where you'll work through your case studies with your peer groups. Okay, next slide, please. Give you an idea of the programme itself. The online workshops, these webinars, maybe the 7 2-hour sessions that are recorded is 14 hours. So every week that you have an online session, that either in the same week or very early at the start of the next week, you'll have a 1-hour peer group call, and you can join any of our peer groups. You'll initially be allocated a peer group, but if that time doesn't suit you, feel free to join another peer group. And what that's for is to work with a facilitator and break down what did you get in the 2 hours webinar, why is that relevant to your business? And rather than doing that in a classroom with 30 people, we do that in online, and we do it in groups of maybe 5 or 6 people. And it's a locked system. We use Zoom, so you're only ever going to be working with your peers and the facilitator. It's not open out there on the web. You've got case studies that add up to 18 hours of your total. And then back to this one-to-one support where you can select your business mentor. And I would broadly describe it as it's almost like a matchmaking exercise you go through. You are given access to hundreds of mentors that are based throughout the UK and what their specialisms are, and you select your mentor. You make that agreement, and the mentor will then deliver 10 hours of one-to-one business support for you, and that's just between you and your mentor. You can change your mentor. You don't have to spend all 10 hours with the same mentor, and it's more down to it's your selection, so the mentors aren't therefore just pushed onto you. And then you also have sort of at the end of it, what you're aiming to do is create your own growth action plan. So you're looking at something that's bespoke, and it's a template that you'll work on for you and your business. And a university, as well as a facilitator and our academics, are here to support you during the programme and also after the programme with your own unique growth action plan. Have the next slide, please. This is just an overview of what the webinar would look like. So the last 2 hours is basically an introduction, a quick overview and conversation about what you're going to go through, then go through the material. Then you break out in your subgroups and you have a look at, what's the relevance to this, what you're learning, and what's sort of there for you and your business. You come back in again and you go through further parts of the webinar material and you repeat that. You go into a breakout group again, recap on what you've just went through and how that's applicable to your business. Then there's an evaluation of it and you wrap up that. But the webinar's recorded, as I said. So if you were to miss it, you can catch up at a convenient time, or if you want a refresh and you want to go back in, you go into the VLE, which is only your cohort. So when you're in your own VLE, it's only the people you've been working with. There's nobody else has access to this material. On the next slide, please. And this gives you an idea of what the workshops are like, a bit more in focus where, again, you'll have the welcome. You'll go through an introduction to the case study. But in this one, you'll then actually work in the case study. So rather than doing that in a peer group online or doing that separately away from the actual classroom, you'll be broken up into groups and you work through the case study together in small groups. You have a break and then you repeat that process again, and that's what takes the 4 hours, because you'll go through that iteration twice and you go through 2 case studies twice. Next slide, please. I'm going to hand you over to Karen. So Karen works with us as a consultant and also is heavily involved in the facilitation and working directly with SMEs.
Very much. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to UWF. Patrick and I are actually in the Hive, which is a lovely space that we offer to all the businesses that are part of the alumni. So any company that comes along to Help to Grow is more than welcome to come into the university any other time and use our facilities. And we feel that, and we hear from companies that they really love that opportunity. So I've been asked to just talk about an overview of the delivery and what it's like. So as Patrick had said, we start with this opportunity for face-to-face introductions, and we find that sort of calm nerves quite a lot. A lot of the companies that are coming to us have no formal business training. Some of them have never been in a classroom since they left school or college, and it can have been a long time before they'd any formal education. So the idea of coming on a course, as much as they want to do it and they can imagine the benefits for their business, there's a slight worry, concern of what that might be like, because we do deliver in a classroom environment. So it's important for us to make sure that people are really comfortable and that we have sort of helped them do that initial networking and contact with everyone else. So we have groups of maybe between 20 and 25, which can be fairly overwhelming, and that's why we have our peer groups. But in that group of 20 to 25, you find that a lot of people then have connections that they didn't realise they had. We find some people immediately start business to business networking, which is a great thing. But for us, it's all about the confidence and the connection that they get with other businesses. Running your own business or being a business leader can be a very lonely place. So the idea then that they can network with people who are going through the exact same thing as them, even though they may not be in the same business sector, comes as a surprise, and I think a very welcome gift, which comes from that whole idea of networking and really connecting with other people that have the exact same position as they are and similar issues. For example, with staff, with employee engagement, with understanding the finances, with connecting with the professionals in their life, for example, their accountants, for understanding their customer in great detail, from looking at things like how their business might work in the future, how they can involve digital engagement and that kind of thing. Every week that we run a module is a learning week. It's an opportunity for reflection on where they are in their particular business and where they want to be. Continual talking and giving them points where they can really review where they are. We ask them to take that back to their workplace and look at how they can bring that kind of all those tools and techniques that we introduce them to, and how they can take that back to their business. So we believe that this content really stimulates conversation and it lets them reflect on their own business practice, but in particular their mindset, the mindset of the people they work with, and their own leadership skills. So one of the important things for us is that not only do they have that whole competence side of things where they learn business tools and practices and techniques that they can take back, it improves their confidence. So that's the sort of softer side of things. And with that, it helps them then with their future business decisions. And that idea of networking as well can be quite a scary place if you feel that you're doing it on your own. Again, with our alumni network, we can make sure that people feel connected with each other. And then they continue, so we have a very informal WhatsApp group for each of our cohorts. It means they can keep in touch with each other. They can learn, they can share, they can ask advice, they can pop up things where they're looking for a particular service or product, and other people can help them from their own experience. So as Patrick said, we run these smaller peer groups, which are just a 1 hour session, which is about, again, reflection, asking them to really look at the core points that were covered in the module. Again, conversation, learning from each other, sharing best practice, discussing how they can take that back to the workplace, so they can then ensure that they take every lesson that they can from Help to Grow. We ask them to discuss content within their business. And again, for some people who are business owners and business leaders, as I said, it's quite a lonely place and they may not necessarily have shared a lot of stuff before with their staff, but this is all about staff engagement and growth and helping people within their business with their own personal growth as well. So I run my own business. Our facilitator also runs his own business, so we know exactly how it feels to be in that position. So I think that helps, that we can really support businesses either within the course or afterwards. And again, we get calls and we set up meetings with people so we can make sure their individual needs are actually met. And often that will mean connecting them with other parts of the university. So it's university staff then that are delivering the material, and they're always happy to help separately from that with any kind of issues that people have. I think that's me covered all of this. Is there anything you want me to say, Patrick?
No, I just want them to just the next slides that we have Leslie. Yeah,
so if we can get the next slide. So Leslie was on our Help to Grow, I think last year, maybe the year before, here at UWS, and I'm going to pass it on to her, and she's going to talk about what it's like from an SME point of view. Thank you.
Hello everybody, and thanks for inviting me along. As Karen and Patrick have said, I took part in the Help to Grow, and that this was promoted through the local Renfrewshire Chamber of Commerce to me. And I did find it a bit daunting at first. I thought, oh my goodness, that's out my depth. There's going to be people in business that are just going to be like, why are you even in business? You know, what you're doing is so wrong, and I'm going to get slated, and I'm just going to like be out my depth. But it was absolutely not in any way like that. It was, I've done quite a few business growth programs in the past. We're a social enterprise as well, so we're not for profit, and quite a lot of the business programs don't quite fit with that ethos either. We have obviously a huge social impact, and we have a massive input from our community, and our community involve our staff as well. As a founder of the business, what I found really difficult, and Karen actually did tap into it, I was lonely, and I didn't realise I was lonely until I went on the Help to Grow. I found people who were like-minded, who had bigger businesses than what I had grown, but in the same way had the same hurdles that they would overcome. So what this programme done for me was it gave me the confidence, and it gave me, even when I spoke to people who had been in business a lot longer than what I had and had bigger businesses, they wanted to hear my story, and they wanted to hear exactly where I was going, what I was doing, what my social impact was, how I marketed, how I gathered business, all that kind of stuff, and what my ambition was going to be. And nobody had ever actually asked me where I wanted to be. So, and that made me reflect on the different types of leadership as well as the different types of management. I had realised that I was no longer a manager. In fact, I was leading the company, but I didn't quite know how to let go, and be who I wanted to be, and lead the company in the direction I wanted to lead it in. And what I learned was it wasn't only just about me as well. It was about communication. It was about sharing. It was about getting everybody involved in it. And it was making sure that although I was leading in the direction, that everybody was following as well. And I'm pleased to say it absolutely worked, to such an extent that we were now securing outside business as well as just internal marketing. So we upgraded just about everything, and it's produced and it's been so valuable. Just even using the templates that you're given in order to make those plans, and have a way of sharing it with everybody that you employ, or everybody that's on that board of directors, or whoever you're answerable to. It gave me a structure, it gave me a format, and it gave me a focus as to where we would go. So the resources was invaluable to me. Still use them. And the plan worked. And we're now on to our second plan using the same resources and growing business again. So just when I first went on the programme, I employed 12 staff, and we're now up to 22, and we've expanded into a different authority, which probably would never have happened had I not had the insight and just people saying, yeah, you can do it. You've done this, so why can't you do it again? There's a bit on international trading as well, which I thought, that one I'll just sit out of. But I was so intrigued by what the content was that I actually joined it, and it was that made the difference to me as well, because it was just all the things that they were saying. You've got to look at your environment. You've got to look at your external factors. You've got to look at different laws and it wasn't actually too far away from even different working in different authorities. So that proved to be really, which I didn't think would be valuable, proved to be valuable to me. The whole programme the peer support and that face-to-face contact with people, and just being able to just talk to them on a level that they understood, and not have to justify why you're there or what you're saying, or the problems that you're having, the hurdles that you're trying to overcome. Just having that listening ear at that level was, to me, brilliant. And we're still working in and out of the Hive, which, can I say, is an amazing space. I've used it today. I think Patrick's fed up seeing me in it, but it's an amazing space just to be. I've delivered parenting groups, I've delivered all sorts of stuff in the Hive as well. It's welcoming. But more importantly, it's introducing my staff to the university as well. So they're going and doing some workshops with me as well in there. And then we've now got links, and it's promoting them to have a look at their own professional development. And some of the staff are now going to the university, doing in the Paisley campus to do some extra work as well. So yeah, it's just grown arms and legs really, and it's all branched from an email drop saying, think you would fit, do you want to go? And me going, don't know, been on these programmes before, do I have time? Yeah, why not? We'll go for the first one and see where we go. And to be honest with you, I'm so glad. I've met loads of fantastic people that believed in me. And I think that's the true thing about it. It's just somebody believing in you on that same level. You don't really need people's advice, but what you do need is a structure, and you do need somebody just to say, no, right, that's fine. Yeah, you're doing the right thing, or you're doing what meets your needs, rather than meeting somebody else's needs. That was the benefits I got out of it. But happy to take any questions if I've not covered anything. Nicola as well, if I've not covered anything.
That's great. Thanks very much, Les. I'll just take the next slide, please. Can we go and do questions at the end? And a final slide for me before we move on to the questions would be that we are recruiting for our Paisley cohort. It's nearly full already. It's going to start the 30th of October. And then we've got another cohort planned for the 8th of January 2025. We start another 12 weeks. In terms of that, we don't know if that will be the end of the programme. We hope it isn't. But the UK government had funded the programme up until the 31st of March 2025 when they started the programme back in 2021. So it's a kind of case of it's not that it won't be happening, it's just we can't guarantee there's other cohorts. If you are interested in those cohorts, that's the two sign-up links to them. So course 9 is October, course 10 is January. But do feel free to drop us an email at H2GM, so Help to Grow Management, at uws.ac.uk. If you get any questions about the programme, you want some further information, only too glad to send out to you. And the next slide, please, because that will be the end for questions. That's us. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks very much to Patrick and Leslie and Karen. That was all really interesting, really informative. We've had a few questions from people. First one is asking, what happens if I miss a session?
So if the session's missed, if it's one of our online sessions, we've got those recorded. So what you can do is you can then go back onto the virtual learning environment, which is your way of accessing the material. And then you can actually watch the video at a convenient time so you can catch up on it.
Okay. And what happens, I think there's someone's asking, they just want to know a bit more about what happens in the peer groups.
Yeah, so what happens is a peer group is after the online module. So the online module is basically a 2-hour sort of intensive workshop where one of the university lecturers will just share a lot of content. There's not really the opportunity, because it's just 2 hours, to really discuss that in any detail. So after that, what we do is we have that 1-hour peer group. It's a small group, usually no more than about 8 people. That we've chosen so that there's not really anything in the way of competition, but probably complementary businesses and sectors, so that people can really share information. We'll take the key points from the module, and then we'll just discuss them to make sure that people are comfortable with what the content is, that they're happy with how that might relate to their own business. And we hope that then starts a reflection for them on where they are compared with what might be ideas, things they've never considered before, or sometimes best practice. And again, it's an opportunity for them to hear what their peers are doing and to share and support each other. And it only lasts an hour.
Thanks, Karen. And I know this was mentioned in the presentation, but there's been a question asking how large or small can the groups of SMEs be on the course?
So the cohort size is usually between 20 and 25. As you can imagine with anything like this, often people sign up for it with the very best intentions, and then business pressures come in. So we often find that we'll have 1 or 2 drop-offs, which is why we like to have, like, at least, if we can get the 25. So we've got a good group size going forward, and then that lets really good conversations and great networking and peer support when everyone gets together. But I think the average, I would say, is possibly about 22.
Yeah.
I think, possibly about 22. Saying that, for this cohort at the end of October, we already have 25 registered. So that is likely to go up to maybe up to 30. But as I say, usually we find 1 or 2 people from the best intentions will change and we'll move to another date, in which case we'd move them over to January. We always get the opportunity to swap to another one until we get to January, because we don't know if it will be funded after the end of March.
Okay, thank you. And obviously when the course finishes, I know you've mentioned, I hope I get this, pronounce this word right, the alumni.
Yep.
What sort of, can you tell us a bit more about that and how that supports sort of businesses to support each other? The fact you mentioned it was sort of UK-wide.
Yeah, so on completion of the course, you have to attend 75%. So you have to attend 9 out the 12 sessions. We obviously want you to attend 12, but 9's the minimum. And on that, you're given a certificate of completion from the UK government to say you've completed the course. But that then opens up the UK alumni. So you're then invited into the alumni network, which then gives you access into a community of all SMEs throughout the UK that have taken place in the course. And we also run alumni events. So to give you an idea, we've got some alumni events coming up in October where we'll be looking at how relevant is AI to SMEs. So we'll run workshops, and to get to those workshops, again, those are fully funded. You'd have to be part of the alumni community. So it's just the difference between that is if people have been to university in the past, they might have signed up as an alumni to the institution they attended. This is alumni to the programme. So it's not a university alumni network, it's the business network. It's just so that businesses know they've got that ongoing help going forward after the course.
That's great. It's a great addition to actually get on the course, where you've got that real life support from a business community. I think the thing that's quite unique about this as well is it's like different sizes of SMEs, different sectors, different regions. So but as Leslie mentioned, and I've mentioned to employers all the time, the sort of general principles, are broadly the same for businesses. So there's a lot that they can share through that.
Yeah.
We also have access to the VLE for 6 months after the course finishes. So if anybody has missed anything and maybe just didn't get a chance to catch up, they've got that 6 months afterwards. And the alumni, we've not made any decision how long that will run for, but people who've been to UWS for the last couple of years doing the Help to Grow are all welcome to every event that runs. So you'll find that the people that did Help to Grow 2 years ago and people that are currently doing it will all be part of the same alumni.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. Okay, thank you very much to all 3 of you. That's been really interesting and informative. I've knew quite a bit about the course, but I know even more now, and there's so much to it, so much support. I think it's been a really good session, really valuable.
Nicola, sorry, there's a couple of questions in the Q&A.
I was just going to mention
a couple more. Sorry.
Yeah.
Shall I just go through them? So
yes,
Cassia asked, is this course available to charities? So the course is available to social enterprises, to KICs, that kind of thing, but not to actually only the charitable side of it. So if a charity has a social enterprise side or has any kind of enterprise side, they would be eligible, but not a charity as such. The same for any kind of public sector organisations or anyone that's fully funded by government. That this is really a course to try and get SMEs moving. But the appreciation there is that social enterprises are part of that enterprise network, so they're eligible for it. And then I don't know if there's any other questions to that, Katia. Okay. And then Samantha had asked what level is the qualification. So the content, first of all, a lot of people who come on the course have no formal qualifications at all. Some of them have got everything from plumbers, hairdressers, people who beauticians, people who have got no formal business qualifications, and some have got no even leaving school qualifications. So there's a point of the course that is about the practical aspect of understanding the content that's there, and that's why we have the peer group, so people can really ensure that it's of practical value to them and it's brought back into their business. So the level of qualification, what we're teaching is everything from an undergraduate level through to some things that are really about MBA levels. But please don't make that be anything to worry about or to stop somebody applying. This is very much about business tools, techniques and support. And it doesn't matter where somebody's starting from. If they feel that they want to improve their business, then this is a great opportunity to do that for absolutely no cost, but for a lot of time and effort, because it's 50 hours over 12 weeks. So it's intensive at that time. But as I said, there's support afterwards. The VLE is available for 6 months after that as well. And on completion, you will get a completion certificate. And we've had a couple of people that have done it and then gone on to do an MBA and are really interested in what else they can do to sort of improve their own sort of learning and understanding of business. Samantha, I don't know if that answers, if there's anything else there.
Thank you for that. If you're wanting to get in touch with Patrick or Leslie or Karen, obviously you can go to the links that have been provided. I think give you more information. As I said, apologies about the questions that were missed at the end, but just rounding off the session.
Sorry, Nicola, to interrupt. You've got
sorry.
One more question.
Is there another one come in?
Yeah, apologies.
Yep, no problem. So.
Yeah, Alana,
Two places, they're just asking us 2 places maximum allocation per business, and I think that's in total, not per year. Yeah,
it's in total across the whole of the UK.
Across the whole of the programme, you just get two goes at it if you've got 10 or more employees, and employees can be part-time as long as they're actually on payroll. So your company might be 5 full-time, 5 part-time employees, and that will allow you 2 places on a Help to Grow management course at any of the providers in the UK.
That's great. Just to end it, I'm just checking again that there's no more questions that have come through. I think that's us. That's us. So just to round off, that was a really good session. Thank you very much again to Patrick, Karen and Leslie for giving us information. And just to say as well, UWS, they're one of the universities throughout the UK and throughout Scotland that run the programme, the Help to Grow programme. And Help to Grow is just one of the many amazing programmes provided by partners that we regularly signpost to when we're helping businesses across Scotland. Our main role is sort of help identify skill solutions that's going to be best fit for their workforce needs. So it's a really good programme. As I said, at the start, I signpost regularly to it, as do some of my colleagues. Just to let you know also, just very quickly before we finish up, about the resources that SDS provides. As you can see there in the top left-hand corner, we have our Employer Hub, which is our online digital support, and it includes information, advice and some tools that can help employers and their business needs. We've got apprenticeships.scot, which is a website that includes all you need to know about various apprenticeship routes, and you can also advertise vacancies on here. You've got My World of Work, which is for individuals support. Find Business Support, which is a national government website, and that will give you updates on things like funding and training. And there's also the Fair Work Employer Support tool that you can use. But as Patrick mentioned during the slides, we've got start date at the end of October. There's another start date in January. Just get in touch with Patrick or go into the links provided if you're interested in either of those programmes. And just to say thank you, everyone, for attending today. And I'm sure it's been a really useful session for you. So thank you for your time. And that's us. Okay, thanks to the speakers as well. Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.